right, y'all. It's the Amanda Seales Show. It's your girl, Amanda Seales, celebrating my birthday all day today. Shout out to my fellow July 1sters. It is time for Supreme Court Injustice. Okay. The Supreme Court ruled that, well, first of all, let me just tell you this. This week, we'll be updating you on all the unruly judgments happening on the Supreme Court as of late. And they've really been turning up and churning these out, okay? First up, the Supreme Court ruled that U.S. citizens do not have a fundamental right to have their non-citizen spouses admitted to the U.S. Earlier in the show, I mentioned that they are going to come after the 14th Amendment. With the 14th Amendment says that as a U.S. citizen, you have the right to all of the, basically like the pursuit of happiness that all U.S. citizens have. And this 14th Amendment was passed after the Civil War to basically say like, okay, blacks, you can be considered a citizen too. But they were never very specific about what a citizen is. And in the Constitution, it does not define clearly what a citizen is. And that has been something that has been a point of contention since the 14th Amendment was passed, because the language was very vague and it doesn't really nail it down. It allows for the interpreters of the Constitution, depending on what time and era they exist, to determine how the 14th Amendment is applied. Now, in this case, you know, it's very confusing. It's very disconcerting, because I know a lot of people who have only been able to come to the United States because they were married. Mm-hmm. And we all know about green card marriages. And the case background is that a California woman, Sandra Munoz, sued the State Department after her husband, who is from El Salvador, after his green card application was denied without explanation. Her husband, Luis Asensio Cordero, was denied a spousal visa in 2015 due to suspicions of gang affiliation based on his tattoos. And he has been stuck in El Salvador ever since. So appeals court ruled in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in her favor, and stated that she had a liberty interest in her husband's visa application. Remember that 14th Amendment, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? If you are an American citizen, one of your liberties is that you can live with your spouse.
Bring them in.
So she had a liberty interest in her husband's visa application and deserved an explanation for the denial. The Supreme Court reversed the Ninth Court Circuit of Appeals. Wow. And they said that Munoz has no legal interest in her husband's visa application, and that Asensio Cordero, her husband, has no right to federal court review. Here's what Justice correspondent at The Nation, Eli Mistel, had to say on Joy Reid's show, The Readout, about what this means.
There was a Supreme Court case today where the 6-3 conservative majority on the Supreme Court ruled that you do not have the right to give a green card to your spouse. If you marry a spouse who's from another country, they don't automatically get a right to green card. Amy Coney Barrett wrote that while the right to marry is fundamental, the right to live with your spouse is not. That was the 6-3 conservative court today. And of course, I'm reading the case screaming, Melania, like as I'm reading the case, because the exact rule that Trump used to bring Melania and her whole family over to this country is what the Supreme Court said was not a fundamental right today. That was 6-3. That was 3 Republican justices that were appointed by Trump at the very time where this is all happening.
Many of whom are also the grandchildren or children of immigrants. But isn't it a fun world we live in?
Now, I want to also point out that, you know, when we talk about immigrants, a lot of us naturally just think about folks that are coming from Mexico and Central America, or folks that are coming from the Caribbean. But Luka Doncic is a immigrant, okay? Like Djokovic is an immigrant. Yao Ming, immigrant. Like these are people that are brought over. And so what we're saying is that, yes, people will be able to still come over here on work visas and school visas. But for you as a married person to no longer be able to bring your spouse over in America and get a green card, that is a huge change. And shout out to my mother. My mother got 9 people green cards.
Oh, wow.
My mother came over here.
Familiar with this whole process.
Yes, my mother came over here on a work visa. She was able to get her husband a green card and every member of my family a green card.
Oh, wow.
So
this to me just seems kind of like hater activity, because they want to be able to have the complete final say on who and who does not come in this country, because I bet you a lot of those guys that go tricking over in the Philippines and stuff like that marry people will have no problem green card getting their people over here. It's going to be used to just on certain people, this rule will apply.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. And that is unfortunate, but it is the way that this country works. So, yeah, we have more show for you. Keep it locked right here. Let me know your thoughts. 1-855-AMANDA-8. That's 1-855-262-6328. Do you know somebody that was able to get a green card because they were married? Holler at us and let us know. Passport bros are in trouble. We'll be right back.
We up.